Our society determines the need for change. But as Michael Fullan says, every improvement calls for a change. However, not every change involves any improvement. We have to look for the best possible change. We have to look for the drivers of change in our society. However, change requires wanting it, wishing to change, and a reason why and what for. What's my involvement and commitment in this society to demand a change of myself? Changing my mindset, my way of doing things, opening up to flexibility and to what is new and different, the willingness to change. When groups or institutions resist change, we have to generate a need for change. Better said, everybody desires to change. The difficulty lies in actions that foster change and the need for a change. Also, to change, we need to know what we want to implement, what we wish for. We can't follow anything or anyone. We need training, knowledge. What we can't do is let time pass by without looking for knowledge, without implementation, without finalizing things, without improving things in the process that leads to change. Therefore, we need a clear model to guide change and make it possible. We need to deliver training to make change happen. Also, change requires to be implemented, its context, the right circumstances. But Daniel Pink says we never find the right moment to change. We need to create the context and the circumstances for change to happen. Africa de la Cruz Tomé says there are 3 key words to change: motivation, wanting it; training, knowledge; seeking the model we want to implement; and a possibility, the context to make it happen. So for motivation, training, and the possibility of change, we, the missionary daughters of the Holy Family of Nazareth, looked for a frame of reference to develop the project altogether. It helped us to co-create and move forward in our educational project, in training to action, in learning by doing, in experimenting and creating many concepts from the actions we carried out. In the year 2000, a Dutch professor said that for innovation to happen, 4 major transformation axes are necessary. These axes are explained in a chapter of The New Education, a book by Ferran Luis. And based on that, Nazareth Global Education conceived a new educational model, a reference framework to grow, a reference framework for this change to happen and become a reality. I must also say that this reference framework led us to a sustainable educational model, which is very important. It's not about doing something and then putting it aside, but it must grow and be sustainable in its growth. It must be systemic. a change which embraces the whole school, the whole institution, and that involves everybody from children to adults. A change that guarantees an educational model and an educational project that knows its whys and whats, and that doesn't end in itself. The idea of continuous improvement, and by the way, it is tiring, even exhausting, because what we want is to respond to the drivers of change that come our way, and it's our desire to keep on improving throughout the process, not only in one school, in the whole institution. I know we don't run many schools, but I believe this can be done in any institution. What matters is to have a model enhanced and expanded continuously in an action of co-creation. I reiterate, a model that responds to the drivers of change, not a model stuck in the past, a model that brings the future to the present day. This is imperative. Also, we synthesized this educational model in a diagram. We believed synthesis was important here, and also that the terminology used could resonate with all the schools. Something difficult and laborious. We are talking about the implementation of a set of educational practices, and it's imperative that the implementation is rigorous because it's grounded in research, in a theoretical framework, and in an action which enables us to research and conceptualize our practices in a new way. This educational project is centered on the individual. Pope Francis asks for this in the Global Compact for Education. Placing the individual at the center looks easy, but when everything revolves around the individual, it's not easy to organize the school, to make everything student-centered, child-centered. We need to give children and students a voice. It's our desire, hope, and a willingness that this individual, that student, along with the opportunities they had in their learning path, contribute to make the world a better place. We desire that everything we are giving our student is taken in, processed, and used to improve their circumstances and make the world a better place. But not after graduating from school, while they are in school. We want people with ethical values, people who can make marvelous things with what they were given, people able to commit to improve society from a very young age. And to be ethical, excellent, and committed, an individual needs to be guided, supported, to develop a life project, a vocational project that unfolds in a personal learning plan. We do all this with a role we could call coach, someone who guides students, someone who stands by students, not only for academic excellence, but also to allow them to be the best version of themselves in every aspect of life, and to service other people. A coach, a tutor, a guide, someone who has to learn to communicate, to be in the student's shoes. The coach is an important role, and the school must train the coach. We shouldn't forget about families. They are the first educators, they are part of our educational project, and they contribute to modify, fine-tune our educational project as they use it. Then we have the cooperative base group that has a guiding role, a group of peers who help students reach their goals. It's interesting to see how these cooperative-based groups play a major role in perseverance. They really help their peers. And also it creates a more horizontal network that provides guidance. Furthermore, in our educational projects, another important role is played by what we call daily education, based on faith, and that enables us to analyze the world with evangelical criteria. Faith and culture, living life to the deepest with faith and feeling accompanied by Jesus, a life that Jesus makes stronger. This is the core of our educational project, and it goes along with four major transformational axes. The first transformation is curriculum, methodology, and assessment. When such a change is applied to a curriculum, to methodology and assessment, both the student and the teacher's role changes accordingly, and that is the second transformation. The third transformation has to do with the school organization. That's probably the most difficult one, because here we're dealing with people, and people have their own traits and needs, and we have to work out the best way to organize their time with the students. The fourth transformation is about learning spaces. They are digital, cultural, and physical. They are spaces that help students feel comfortable in an emotional space based on a humanizing culture, spaces that foster interpersonal relationships, spaces that help us to function in a familiar way, in a way where bonds stem from caring, tenderness, love, and growth. We will watch a few videos in a minute, and we will see each transformation more in detail. But before, I'd like to play a video that shows this educational project at a global level. Thank you. Hi, I'm Emergent Learning, Individuation Plus by Nazareth Global. Get to know me. I take care of a student whole education. I make students the protagonist of their learning. My desire is to create committed individuals who wish to make the world a better place with ethical values, able to work throughout their life. I love to guide students in designing their personal life project and learning plan. I have a great ally, a coach who brings the best out of students. And families are the first educators. I'm the facilitator of a cooperative group for every student, where they get help to grow and consolidate their learning. Every day I arrange the learning moment for students to encourage them to be discerning following evangelical criteria. I empower students to be leader in their learning path. The trust ecosystem that gives life to this whole education project and the four major transformation axes. Transformation number 1, curriculum, methodology and assessment. A modified, expanded and extended curriculum because society requires new knowledge, new skills, new ways to see the world. Hence, the curriculum should be interdisciplinary and in line with real life, not limited to knowledge, focused on the acquisition of skills and on the individuation of learning to meet every student's needs and interests, to help everyone reach global competence, understand the world, interact with the world and make it a better place. Transforming the curriculum entails transforming methodology. And experiential learning is project-based. Projects are developed, assembled and launched. To learn from each other and build knowledge together, we opt for cooperative learning. To help students make the right decision, ponder with precision, and make the world a better place, we need creative and critical thinking. We'll fully adopt technology, a great help to individuation, understanding, researching, and making teachers' job more effectual. We'll develop a culture maker using the senses, creating, inviting to think by doing and prototyping. And now, assessment, an authentic and formative assessment that appraises for learning. It's present throughout the learning process. It involves self-assessment, so students become aware of their strengths and weaknesses. A learning target-based assessment, appraising student skills and helping them to make progress in their learning, showing they can master skills and competencies. So remember, curriculum, methodology and assessment, a major transformation that activates emergent learning at Nazareth. Transformation number 2, students and teachers' roles. It's imperative that teachers are not only competent in their subject, but that they also develop coaching and tutoring skills to help students grow in a well-rounded way. Teachers are educators at all times. As members of a teaching team, don't stop growing on the personal and the professional. They are specialists in designing blended learning, allowing students to become more autonomous by using a digital learning platform. Teachers foster self-directed learning, which respects every student's unique learning pace. Nazareth Global Teachers are learning facilitators at all times. They create videos for self-learning that students can play as many times as they need, at their own pace. Teachers of this sort will inevitably give rise to students who are active in their personal learning plan, with the knowledge and good management of their emotional wealth. Students who work on their own portfolio to reflect on their learning, select what they deem important and take decisions. Students who develop mental patterns and acquire more autonomy with the technological skills needed for self-learning. To sum up, students who, together with their teachers, can design their own learning path. As good as it gets. And this is Nazareth Global Education. Transformation number 3, organization. Timetables will have to be modified, group distribution as well, moving away from the static one group, one teacher, one classroom, 1 hour setting. Experiential learning requires a different space and time, as well as interdisciplinary teaching teams. We foster the creation of learning communities where everybody learns from everybody in a synchronous and asynchronous manner. As you can see, at Nazareth Global Education, learning is increasingly autonomous. Transformation number 4, digital, cultural and physical spaces. Spaces we call campfires, where specialists, teachers or students can address the whole group. Fountain spaces, where students can exchange notes, consult each other, share in small groups. And spaces we call caves, for individual reflection and metacognition. All with talking walls that give visibility to learning, to the school identity and life. We want to work in an agile and multimodal environment where ubiquity and learning at all time and anywhere possible. Spaces that host learning communities in outdoor areas as well. Digital spaces take into account cognitive, teaching and social presence in a virtual environment with virtual platforms and landscapes where teachers and students can interact. A personal learning environment, both for teachers and students, where everybody has their digital tools handy. We prepare the digital structure of the school and student to enable them to grow into ethical digital citizens. Professional learning communities where every teacher's human, social and decision-making capital is valued, fostering an ecosystem based on trust for teachers, students and families, where values and virtues are woven and identities are forged, where families, schools and students are the tripod to support growth and learning for every child and teenager, where network leadership makes us responsible for education globally with the creation of safe spaces for everybody, towards integral ecology that embraces the human and social dimension. This is Emergent Learning Individuation Plus, a learning path we conceive with you. Nazareth Global Education, specialist in systemic and sustainable innovation.